Hey guys, this is HTOMario, and I'm going to be showing you a Terran against Zerg. I show you the ladder or the games that I play on the ladder, so the games that I show you are highly dependent on what races I get. I would like to mix it up more, and I definitely try, but you might sometimes see a lot in a row because, for example, today I faced like 5 or 6 Zerg in a row on the ladder, and that's a lot of time. So if you think about it, that's if we face 5 Zerg, 15 minutes minimum per game, I usually have 30-minute games. That's a lot of time, and that takes away a lot from how many hours I play in a day. So, with this strategy, we are going to, once again do a Reaper opening. I think in one of the following up videos, I'll go ahead and show you the exact opening on how to do this. This specific game was played yesterday. It's against TBo. I chose this game not for the profanity at the end of it, but simply because it was a great way to show you how to take advantage of a kind of non-aggressive Zerg and how to play another macro game against Zerg. So we're going to play a little bit on ×2. You'll see that my SCV is scouting, and in the meantime I am producing a Reaper. And I'm making 2 Reapers to do a little bit of harass. You can choose sometimes 1 or 2 Reapers, and then maybe even go up to 3 or 4 and mix it up and change the timing so the Zerg doesn't know quite what you're getting at the higher stages of play if you're facing somebody multiple times. In this case, I send out 2 SCVs instead of 1 to try to make a bunker, but his spawning pool was out a little bit faster than I anticipated. So I'm trying to keep my SCVs alive while killing off the Zerglings. Now here I want him to overreact, and he doesn't quite do so, but I don't know, he might have been because, if you don't think about it, he dropped a Roach Warren, so he could be going for a counter rush, or it could have been to try to break the bunker and hold off the Reapers. And back at the home while I do this Reaper harass, I'm going back into the factory and reactor, but I also am going into double command center to take advantage. If he's playing greedy, I want to be able to play greedy, and this is a relatively safe build, so in this specific game I decided to try out a dual command center in my base for orbitals, move one out, and then I have really super early 3 orbital command centers. So I also get a gas, since this is going to highly increase my income. I want to be able to spend my minerals on more gas heavy units, but I need to have extra gas to do that. So back at my Reapers, we try to poke around and see how many gas do you have, and we see the Roach Warren, so we think, okay, we have to prepare for this Roach Warren, but we also have to get these Reapers out of here. So I try to go around, and the Zerglings try to get me, but I make it out. And once I know I'm in the clear, I just go back to my base and continue macroing up home, because he's most likely not going to chase my Reapers down with Zerglings, because he's getting roaches, so he's not going to have the speed. Now that I saw the roaches, instead of swapping the add-ons, I'm going to get Marines and a bunker and then a Widow Mine, and this allows me to help defend against any aggression, but I'm going to continue the rest of the build with a starport. So Hellions aren't very powerful against roaches, and they cost 100 more minerals at a time. So Marines are kind of good, and they can be put in a bunker, so I save 100 minerals by getting the Marines. And then the Widow Mines, they do a lot of splash damage, which is what the Marines are lacking. So I didn't have time to get a tech lab and get a siege tank out, which is what you want. But in this case, I do have time to drop the Widow Mine. So I'm getting the orbital command centers, and I have a few pre-planned SCVs to repair. And he tries to get the Widow Mine with the Zerglings, but the Marines are sniping them too fast. He wants the Widow Mine to fire, but it's not igniting it. Now that I have an excess amount of gas, because I didn't really invest into any like medevac, I'm about to, but I didn't invest into like Cloak Banshee like I normally do. Okay. I'm dropping my 2 factories sooner, because I already have so many SCVs because of my orbitals, and I'm sneaking a base over to my 3rd. He's most likely going to be watching my 2nd, so this is really good in trying to be sneaky. And if he's macroing up back home, or if he's preparing a bust and all in, I can drop my mules to my 3rd base and not have to worry. Now with the bunker, I didn't see extra units there, so I decided I'm going to lift out and do some attacking. and I need some tech labs on my factories, and or at least one tech lab, because I like to go for one tech lab, 2 reactors, and I already have 1 reactor. So I get a second reactor on the other factory while I produce widow mines. A Viking to do, to scout and kill the overlords. And my mules are going by in my 3rd base, so that I can, not mine out my main as fast. I dropped the widow mines, and I'm just kind of trying to do some light harass here. Right now I'm trying to take out a queen, which is good because taking out a queen, helps slow down larva production. I tried to get out of there, but he was able to kill the medevac. So it wasn't quite an even trade, but it did pull him back away. So this allows me to expand. He probably thought it was going to be worse than what it actually was, and there was actually still a widow mine back at the base. So he's forced to deal with this widow mine that he just barely killed off with an overseer. So I dropped down 3 bunkers just in case he tries to go for an early attack, and I get the gas at my 3rd base. So I'm gonna be like really fast on my 6 gas when his 3rd is just barely going down. If we take a quick look, it's like 40 drones to 37 SEVs, and at 10-minute stages of the game, he really should be about 10 or 20 drones ahead. So I'm actually ahead in terms of mineral count because I have 3 orbitals, and each mule counts as an SEV. So you can see the difference here in the income. So definitely ahead. I have my Viking, and I'm also producing Widow Mine Siege Tank because I'm thinking, instead of the Hellion harass, I feel pretty comfortable already having my 3rd base, but now I need a way to kind of defend it. I need to be able to not stretch myself too thin, so I'm going to go ahead and go Widow Mine Siege Tank, and then being stationary, these are really good. I salvaged my 3rd bunker because I decided I'm not going to make more Marines. Another orbital command or command center because I have so many minerals from having my 3rd base so fast, and I'm already starting to really increase on my gas production. So I start double armory, and then looking at the time, I think, I'm gonna need an engineering bay really soon, so I'm gonna be grabbing one just in a moment. I remember thinking that there it is. So at this stage of the game, it's really hard to push out and know what he's got. I've got a little bit of scouting going on right here with this Viking. He's kind of flying over the path. He's not over here, so I'm making sure no overlords get over to this area. I'm kind of patrolling here so I can see any kind of sneaky attack, but because he's playing so greedy, but I can't quite tell how many units he has without risk taking some damage to the Viking right now, I decided I'm just going to drop his base, and I do make some Hellions for this, so I'm either going to drop Hellions or Widow Mines depending on what my thought process is at the time and what happens up until then, because if I feel safe, I'd rather drop the Hellions, but if I don't know if it's like a mass circling attack, I would really rather prefer to have the Hellions over the Widow Mines, although it's nice to have a few. The Hellions are great at dealing greater at dealing with Widow Mines if he's able to pass the front, because they can keep running, and then once the Widow Mine shoots, they're pretty much useless. So I already know he has roaches, so he can use the roaches to absorb the Widow Mine shots, and then use his real aggressor, which would be the Zerglings, because I have siege tanks, but only in small numbers, and I have bunkers, but they're easily surrounded. So that's my logic so far. That's kind of what I was thinking. I also have so many gas, so I start another factory. I normally start a few more, but I also want to make sure that I can get my 1-1 upgrades. Once they're going, I definitely can place more factories, or once they're close to going. So right now I'm kind of poking out a little bit with my Hellions around the map. I'm scouting. You can't see this on the replay, but I'm actually telling my Hellions to patrol the map so I can see how many bases he goes to. I'm getting building armor, and I'm thinking, you know what, Mutalisk can be out soon, so I'm gonna go ahead and drop some missile turrets. Now the building armor makes me more convenient, or more stronger against Mutalisk, and easier to repair the missile turrets. It also helps planetary fortresses and my bunkers, so it's really good to get. Now that I have my Hellions out, I begin more Widow Mine production. The Hellions are kind of to check around the map as well. And I begin the drilling class because pretty soon I'm gonna want to start being aggressive. I already have my 3 bases, so if he goes for an aggressive play, I have to be able to attack him pretty fast. You know, I have to be able to reposition pretty fast if he decides to attack my 3rd. So yeah. I saw a lot of Zerglings, so I'm thinking, you know, with Zerglings there's usually a very heavy gas unit involved. It's either going to be Infestor or it's going to be Mutalisk. So I go ahead and get 2 Thors, just in case it is the Mutalisk, and I scan his base and I see, okay, you're going for a Hive, so it's most likely going to be an Infestor. So I'm going to do a little bit of a Dropper Harass and sacrifice some of my Widow Mines. Because you're not going to have air control for 1, and you know, 2, that means that I need less Widow Mines, more Hellions. So, with mech, you'll find the common that you have to make 3 3 supply depots at a time. So that's definitely something you should remember once you get to this kind of economy. You know, and then for every gas you have, you want to get a factory to match it. Unless you reach your 4th and 5th bases, you can start throwing down starports instead of factories. I'm still producing a few Widow Mines because, you know, Widow Mine Siege Tank, because I'm trying to defend a lot of space. I want Hellions as well, but closer to when I do the attack, if I decide to take Hellions, I did see a lot of circling, so I'm thinking right now, watching the game, that I should. So could even be a mistake on my part. I'm grabbing an early 4th because once again he's shown no aggression, and I'm thinking, you know, I have a lot of Widow Mines, I can control a lot of space, and if I put a missile turret by my Widow Mines, the Overseers have to be a lot more careful. If he tries to go for the turret like he's not paying attention, you know, they can get stomped by the Widow Mines. And I start another tech lab, another reactor into my barracks because I'm gonna go up to a lot more gases. This little Zergling's kind of being annoying. But. So he gets to that base and I decide to pull back a little bit. Okay, so now he's being aggressive and I can see that's a lot of roaches. So Widow Mines is definitely the best answer for me right now instead of Hellions. So I'm gonna stick to primarily Widow Mine production. So Widow Mine and Siege Tank is kind of what you want to face roach heavy compositions, because roaches tend to clump up naturally by attacking. And I scan his base, and from the scan we can see that I see the infestation pit, we can see 3 evolution chambers and a hydralisk then, so baneling this as well. So from here I can go, okay, he's probably going roach hydra. And then flying over here, once again, I see a lot of roaches, and he's got 2 armor and 0 attack, and then he's got 2 attack on his Zergling, so I can go, okay, he's got a lot of roaches, but that's because I have mech, and roaches are really good against mech. Another good unit is the Ultralisk, and he is upgrading his Zerglings, so Ultralisks are going to be out on the field eventually, and he does have an Ultralisk cavern on the way, so that's also something to note. Sorry. So back at the base, we are starting to begin some Viking production, just in case he goes Bridlords. We want to throw in 1 or 2, and we can also use them to snipe Overseers, so it's good to have just a few. And we begin a sensor tower production, so we can really find out where we want to reposition our army. It's good to know that in advance. And we start 2 more starports, because as a mech player, one of the best ways to get ahead in any single matchup, and I actually forgot to drop those Widow Mines, one of the best ways to get ahead in any single matchup is to get starports and go Sky, like Battlecruiser, Raven, Viking. Ravens are really good in almost all of the matchups. So he's trying to push up here, and I'm trying to reposition myself in a good spot to attack him. And it's actually, he's got a pretty decent sized army. I'm macroing a lot, but I'm spending a lot on upgrades. And he left unchecked, so he's got like 20 more workers than me. And I skipped SCV production a little bit because I have a lot of orbitals, so I didn't need it quite as much. So what I'm doing now is just simply trying to regain my ground with Siege Tank Widow Mine, and that base is pretty safe with those units there. You can't just walk in. So what I do is transfer the workers, and I have to rally the units that are coming out from my base. And he does lose a lot of infestors here, but I have to rally the units from my base to my ramp to, so I don't lose any, to make sure that I can move down only when I'm ready, or that if he moves up he gets attacked by a lot. So his attack did a lot of damage, but it didn't kill too many Widow Mines. It killed a lot of siege tanks, so it's kind of dangerous for me to do much right now, so I simply try to regain my ground before attacking. I still have a lot of production available to me. I spend a lot of my minerals on getting my production up early and getting my upgrades pretty fast too. So now I'm in this position where I don't have to spend my minerals on that. So I'm getting my units quite fast. I am missing a little bit of my gas supply, and so I decide, I'm gonna get a few Hellbats. I saw quite a few Zerglings, so just throwing in a few definitely helps, and I might even begin Thor production. And with the Hellbats, by getting them, it allows me to get my 3/3 upgrades as well, even though I do want Widow Mines, preferably, and only just a few Hellbats. I can do things like Hellbat drops, and it saves me gas for like Ravens, for add-ons from Medevacs, and yeah. So just looking over the base, I'm trying to get all my gas back up really fast, and that's kind of the most important thing right now. I'll always have minerals as long as I have mineral patches to drop minerals on. Okay, so with this Hellbat drop, I'm trying to keep him in his base, and I see, okay, Roach, Hydra, that's a lot, and he's got a Hive, so Vipers are going to be on their way as well. My 3/3 is on its way. And I have some Medevacs, and I'm re-beginning Widow Mine production. The Medevacs are for drops, and the Medevacs are for healing the Hellbats. And by healing the Hellbats, my siege tanks can get in a better position, and if he throws in a Blinding Cloud and tries to move on top of my siege tanks, not only will the Widow Mines do splash damage, the Hellbats will do splash damage, and any unaffected Blinding Clouded siege tank will do splash damage. Now this stage of the game, I'm thinking, okay, he's got a lot of damage, and I don't want to move out without being safe. I start my tech lab for Ravens because now my gas supply is starting to get really high. So I don't want to move out without being safe, so I throw down some command centers for some planetary fortresses. And this allows me to, when I attack, if it turns into a base race, it becomes much easier to deal with. So another drop going up. And I'm really trying to keep my position well. I don't want to have anything unsieged, and I begin Raven energy because I'm going to start a lot of Raven production. So moving into his base, I see Ultralisk, Viper, Zergling, there's a lot I can tell here, and I had another drop going on over here looking for expansions, so now he's forced to defend that base with at least a few units, and then I'm dropping in a different base. He's also forced to defend that. So this could be like a prime moment to attack, but I'm still waiting on my planetary fortresses. But I already start beginning rallying my army, and if you look at my commands, you'll see in a moment that I'm getting it ready, so everything on 1, and then my Widow Mines is on 3. And this allows me to, plant my Widow Mines outside of the army without having to flip through, tabbing through the abilities. My planetary fortresses are on their way now. So I'm safe to move out because I can see the counterattack coming, and from this distance I can just retreat. So I'm not too concerned about it, but I do want my last planetary fortress on the way, so I'm just kind of waiting for it. So here it goes. And I'm starting another command center, so I can expand somewhere else during the attack or part of the attack. So I'm heading towards the middle of the map. I know he's not on the right side, and he actually attacks me while I'm not paying attention, so I try to burn my Widow Mines, move my tanks back, and siege him. Now the beautiful part about this is he flew all of his Vipers on top of my Widow Mines. So if he had been paying more attention, I would have lost the game right here because I wasn't paying attention. So since neither player was paying attention, the Widow Mines splash damage, it just went out at the end because neither of us were looking, but he gets punished more for not looking because I have Hellbat splash, Widow Mine splash, and Siege Tank splash, and Raven splash. So my army has a lot of splash damage, and if you look at the units lost, he's lost quite a bit more units than me. Not as much as I want because of the engagement was a little bit shoddy, but he definitely lost more than me in that specific battle. So keeping up Widow Mine production and Siege Tank and Raven production because I had a decent amount of gas. I'm controlling the center and rallying all my units over there. This makes it easier for me to reinforce and attack different positions. And he's trying to break me, so I keep trying to burrow my Widow Mines. And I'm getting a lot of splash up, and I'm trying to siege the siege tanks on the way because it's too late to retreat them. So I want him to take as much damage as I can, make him take. And then I'm trying to retreat the reinforcements and move a command center over to another base to expand. So I have the building armor. Wherever he decides to attack, he's going to be met with the planetary fortresses, and that's where also my reinforcements are going to go. So he moves into here, and I already surround it while he's pushing up. So he backs off, and I go back and start mining. So a little bit of a check to see where the game is going. It's like he's got a lot of creep, and he's got a decent sized army because he's making like 6 vipers and a lot of roaches, and he's getting +3 attack. So he's definitely ahead in supply. He's definitely ahead in supply, but he's got this base and this base, so he's on 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 bases. He's about to secure this one, but this is kind of close to me, so I'm not worried about that. And I really need to secure another base because these minerals are about to mine out. These minerals have quite a bit left because I haven't been mulling over here, and then these minerals are close to mining out. So I'm thinking, alright, so I need to expand towards the point where I'm going to attack. That's one of the reasons why I expanded here and here, because both of them are in the direction of my army moving out, and both of them, a defense here, can help kill an army that's trying to push in through the middle, because then siege tanks fire down, and fire down. So this whole area could be under heavy fire. But I need to take this base, but I can't rely on just taking this base. So I also need to take this base, because if I'm attacking down here and I'm defending a base here, he has to go all the way around to attack this base, and I can push into his main. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to get this base very soon, and I'm going to take this base. I'm going to try to double expand, but the only way I can do that is if I put 2 planetary fortresses here, and a few tanks, and a few missile turrets to get vipers, and this will make it safer than, just a single planetary fortress. And it'll allow me to not have to worry about it as much while I attack down here. So he's going to have to take up the majority of his army to kill this once it goes up, if it goes up. Now this is my thinking right now. So I got a Hellbat kind of running around the map looking for expansions. Maybe keep him busy a little bit. So I also still have Raven production, and I'm thinking I really want to get these Ravens because I saw a lot of Hydralisks. And so instead of the Widow Mine, I'm going to start producing some Hellbats. I also need the gas for planetary fortresses. So I will re-begin Hellbat production and another medevac, because it just helps a lot. Now that I know that he's got a Zergling there, I set my army to go ahead and take out the Zergling. He's aware that this base is going up, but my second planetary fortress can land, so I go ahead, or my second base can land, so I go ahead and start making it a planetary. The moment I have the gas. So now that one of the planetary is on the way, and I also have these gas, I can re-begin Widow Mine production, because I'm going to have a little bit of an excess. And moving into this base, trying to set up my tanks, but one of my missile turrets is messing with the AI, because I want 1 siege tank here, 1 siege tank here, 1 siege tank here, so a blinding cloud doesn't affect it as much. But seeing that he's coming in, I try to siege my tanks right away, and I have to send my army to come in and defend it. So you'll see a huge surplus of units trying to come up here, so I can take this base really fast. Any attack away from my production facility is usually an attack I wanna take if I can take it. But he's breaking into this base, so I have to go ahead and lift up the orbital command and fly away. But I still have to defend this position because I can't lose that command center. So coming in, I drop a PDD, point defense drone, to stop the Hydras from attacking my air, and then the the Widow Mines do a lot of damage. So he's forced to retreat with all the amount of splash I have, and it begins corruptor production, which is I'm okay with because I have a lot of Ravens. I drop my mules right before my orbital lands, or my command center lands, because it'll start mining and then go to the base right as it lands, so try not to waste time. And I begin air production because I'm thinking this is going to be an air fight, and then I transfer more workers over to this base. I leave I make some missile turrets there, and I get a sensor tower, and I leave a few tanks there to help defend the space. I decided to not invest more in a second command center because I'm planning on attacking very soon. But I have a radar tower there, so I know that if I need to go back and defend, I can. But I'll most likely end up attacking his base. So I have quite a bit of ravens, and my army is quite well. If you look at the active forces, I have more minerals and more gas inside of my army. He's got 20 more workers, so my army is much more powerful than his is, and it normally will be as a mech player. So what I'm going to do now is start pushing out and taking the space so that he's not going to attack my top left. I sent 2 Widow Mines ahead and siege a few tanks just in case he comes in and tries to rush me before I get in position. And coming up here, I send again a few Widow Mines ahead and siege a few tanks so I can get into position for whenever he tries to break me. I haven't sieged these tanks yet, but I really should, looking back at the game. He does try to pull the units over, but he messes up a little bit because he needed to be a little bit lower on the ramp to be able to pull them. And seeing his army so backed up, I'm thinking, you know what, I'm going to try to squeeze in through here. But now he's got broodlords, so I have to be really careful with this army. So I plant my Widow Mines and walk over him, and then he's kind of chasing me down. So I just walk over them, get into position back here, and then Hunter Seeker missile the broodlords, which now do go down. So I caught him out of in a terrible position by having him run most of his army over my Widow Mines. And I do drop a point defense to him because he's got Hydras, and I drop some auto turrets and throw out some Hunter Seeker missiles, and then I need to get my Raven out of here after throwing down, spending all their energy, because I don't want to lose these units. So with the army that I have here, I've done a lot of damage. I've taken out his forces. He's trying to remax. I'm getting more Raven production and more siege tanks, so increasing my splash count and more Hellbats, because I'm getting a lot of Ravens. Dropping some mules over here, but I have a pretty decent bank, so now that I have started to secure this position, there's still there's a few Widow Mines over here, there's a few Widow Mines over here, there's a few Widow Mines over here, so it's really hard for him to come into this base. So I'm gonna get a second command center, maybe make dual planetaries right here, because this is gonna be a high point of aggression, because this is really close to his mate. So I'm gonna fly this over and most likely make that another command center. I mean, a planetary fortress.
Your forces are under attack.
I'm gonna ×2 it for just a second. So this is just kind of like a rebuilding phase, He can't attack into me, I can't attack into him. So I try to take a second to retreat my units just a little bit and kill these rocks so that I have better access to the space. As I'm flying over, I also bring in more Viking, more starports, because I saw a lot of corruptors, so it could be a Broodlord army that's on the way next. And he's trying to regain this base, but what I'm doing now is I'm kind of like scanning for his army and acquiring this space. So I want to be in the perfect position. I see that he's kind of coming in, so the moment I see him, I siege, and then I throw out some Hunter Seeker missiles. And I just have a lot of splash right here. So his army once again falls down, and now that I've heavily secured this position, it's easier for me to reinforce and rally units over here, put a little contain here, so any units coming out of here are going to walk into my line, and a unit's going to come out of here, going to walk into my line, and then I can reinforce here while I take out this base, and he loses all of his tech structures. So if we look at the units resources lost tab, it was kind of even a few earlier, but the more and more I got in great positions and he engaged me the wrong way, the farther and farther ahead I was going. And not only did he lose his bank, but I was gaining one because I didn't have to make as many units. Like if we go back just a little bit, we can see that when I was pushing down here, we're just gonna ×8 it real fast. So when I was pushing in this direction, we both had a pretty decent sized army, and I want to show you the difference in army supplies and before the battle and after the battle. So even at this stage, I made a lot of resources. Like I lost a lot less resources because he walked over my Widow Mines. So now we're going to see exactly what I mean by, you know, how much he lost. So, walking a little, okay, at this stage of the game, we can see he has 181 supply, and I have 197, so I am X'd. And we move into position. So, 181 supply. And if we see, when my siege tanks siege and my 100 secret missiles go down, it drops from 181 to 125. So 115, and he's still dropping, 103 at 95. He's remaking units, but he dropped to 95. He dropped from 180-ish supply to 95 supply. He lost like 90 supply worth of units in a matter of seconds because of the positioning that I had. All my siege tanks were firing. I had widow mines in between. I had hellbats. He came up really close to my army, so not only could the widow mines fire, he didn't split up, so the 100 secret missile did more damage, the hellbats did damage, and the siege tanks did a lot of damage. So he took a huge amount of AoE, and you know, he just lost his whole army because he wasn't very careful with it. So that's this game. Thank you for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. I think even a little bit more in depth than I usually go. So. Please remember to subscribe and watch as many videos as you can, because that really supports me. And you know, I do stream on a regular basis, and you can check that out. I have a link on my page. So thanks for watching, guys.